because you are the King of Kings, therefore you are our King. We ask that you reign among us today in Jesus' name. Take total control. At the end of today's activities, let only your name be glorified. In Jesus' mighty name we pray.
Thank you very much. Kabiyesi is here present. Please permit me to adopt the protocol that was established yesterday because of our time. But then I want to use some people as point of contact to greet all Obas here seated. His Imperial Majesty Oba Yusuf Adebori Adeleye the Olubaka of Ibaka, of Okaland, the Olubaka of Okaland, to greet Obas from the Northern Senatorial District. I also have Oba Oluwafemi Joel Adeluoye, the Ashwada of Ishwada. I also want to use Oba Raphael Olusegun Atibioke, the Olubaram of Ibaram, to greet all Obas from the Northern Senatorial District. I've picked them across the different grades. From the South, I want to use His Imperial Majesty Oba Thomas Adeshayo, the Ahaba of Ajagba, to greet Obas from the Southern Senatorial District. Oba Raphael Oyedele, the Olu Bobini of Bobini. Oba Deoye Samuel Olumide, the Molokun of Atijere, to greet Obas from the Southern Senatorial District. I also have the pleasure and honor to use Oba Victor Adesimbo Kiladejodo Shemawe of Ondo to greet Obas from the Central Senatorial District. Oba Raphael Oluwadare Ojo the Adapogun of Ipogun. His Royal Majesty Oba Olufumilayo Omoni the Akakpisha of Ikpisha. I use these three Obas to greet all Obas from the Southern Senatorial District. I have the pleasure to invite to chair this segment His Imperial Majesty Oba Yusuf Adebori Adeleye the Olubaka of Okaland. Kábíyèsí o, mi ò tó gbé yín dìde o, but I'm acting under instruction, sir, that you chair this segment. Ẹ bá ń ṣe kábíyèsí o. Thank you very much. The lecture we have today says the role of traditional rulers in contemporary Nigerian politics and governance. The role of traditional rulers in contemporary Nigerian politics and governance. And this paper is to be delivered by our own prince, a legal luminary, a publisher par excellence, a prolific writer, Prince Ade Akinbosade Esquire. Please join me, welcome him. Thank you very much. Okay. A former permanent secretary also. They call him the high priest of local government administration. Thank you very much, sir. I want to hand you over to him. Say in the next 30 to 40 minutes to do justice to this topic. Thank you very much.
The Honorable Commissioner for Local Government, the Kabiyesi, the Olubaka of Oka, top government functionary here present, Kabiyesi, Kadepelori, Kibata Pelese, And I like to specially greet Kábíyèsí Ọba Julius Olúfadérìn Adétìmẹ́yìn, Jẹ́gun Olúẹkùn of Ilẹ̀-Olújí Kingdom, and the paramount rulers of Ilẹ̀-Olújí, both home and diaspora. Kábíyèsí, you're welcome. My name is Ade Akinbo Sade, and the lecture I'm to present here this morning is entitled The Roles of Traditional Rulers in Contemporary Nigeria Politics and Governance. Pre-colonial days, that is before 1861, when Lagos became a British colony. And the second period is colonial period till 1966, after the demise of the First Republic. And the third there is through the military incursion and the civilian government. Outline. Permit me, Kábíyèsí, to go through the outline, and they are listed there. We have the traditional institution in pre-colonial rule, the policy of guns, powder, diplomacy, traditional rulers' involvement in contemporary politics. That was between 1951 to 1966, shortly before the demise of the First Republic. And we have the sharp contrast. That is the 1979 Constitution and 1999 Constitution, whereby thank you, Honorable Commissioner. So we have the 1979 and 1999 constitutions. Tó jẹ́ pé ó stop pé kí àwọn ọba come and participate in government. Unlike 1951 to 1966, whereby the obas, àwọn ọba, wọ́n jẹ́ minister. And in fact, the Ọọ̀ni of Ifẹ̀, Ọba Adérẹ̀mí, Ọba Adérẹ̀mí Adésọjí, was the first Oba to be appointed as Governor General throughout the Commonwealth world. Àwọn Kábíyèsí ìgbà yẹn wọ́n participate as ministers. Gbogbo ẹ̀ la máa go through bí paper ti ń lọ. So we have the duties of minor chief and we have the duties of recognized chief. Àwọn Kábíyèsí, their roles, their duty, iṣẹ́ tí wọ́n ń ṣe àti minor chiefs, maybe the kingmakers, their roles, etc. Gbogbo àwọn iṣẹ́ tí wọ́n ṣe yẹn ó wà ní pépà yìí, and the worship, all these are going to be diluted in this paper. So the page 1 there, traditional rulers in pre-colonial rule. Tabatika ìwé tí Professor Banji Samuel Banji Akitoye tó kọ nípa history Yorùbá, a rí pé number 1 níbi page yìí ó sọ bí àwọn bá ṣe jẹ́, role tí àwọn bá ń ṣe, ikú bàbá yèyé, igbákejì òrìṣà. In those days àwọn ọba àwọn ló níjọba, kò sí government míì tó ń bá wa ṣèjọba. For example, the Òṣèmí Owó Ondo, àwọn ni paramount ruler. The tar road, they have the market, they are the law unto themselves. There wasn't any level of government that is superior to Kábíyèsí. That was pre-colonial days, that is before 1861. It was in 1861 that Lagos became a colonial territory. And as we go on, we see bí àwọn òyìnbó wọ́n ṣe dé táwọn gba authority lọ́wọ́ àwọn ọba. So here you see that, maybe I should go through. The chief law officer enforcer was described as Aláṣẹ Èkejì Òrìṣà, Ikú Bàbá Yèyé, Olúayé, Ẹkùn, all-powerful king, one that cannot be challenged, is the chief priest, the chief judge, the commander-in-chief in terms of war, and the embodiment of people culture. Eléyìí tí president jẹ́ commander-in-chief now, Kábíyèsí ni commander-in-chief. Ààrẹ apàṣẹ wàá There is no level of authority that is higher than Kabiyesi. That was before 1861. And no wonder Obas in yesteryears had native authority. The council. Our own council. Oba market. The prison. They can sentence someone to death. Nobody to question. You cannot be challenged. That was pre-colonial day. Ìgbà kan nìyẹn. Òyìnbó wá dé. Through policy of gunpowder diplomacy. Wọ́n mú bọ̀ dání. Wọ́n dẹ̀ ń fa àwọn mọ́ra, wọ́n fa àwọn ọba mọ́ra. They began to enter memorandum of understanding with them, memorandum of understanding. For Kabiyesi to surrender their authority. Wọ́n gbé bọ̀ dání. Wọ́n ní Kabiyesi ẹ wá o, ẹ já ṣe agreement for peace. Tálárì ìbọn tó ní tẹríba. So the Ọba exercise political, spiritual, economic and judicial powers. Sibanji Akitoye book. This reception of English common law in 1863, through which English laws and court system introduced to the colony of Lagos, signaled the death knell of era of powerful Obas. Nígbà tí àwọn òyìnbó tán gbófin wọn dé, tán gbé bá ṣe ṣòfin dé, they have already colonized Lagos. Ẹ̀rọ tí Ọba Akitoye bóyá àgbà tán ní kán jáwọ́ nínú òwò ẹrú tó hàn jáwọ́. British government came. They fought a battle and they won. And they now move from Lagos to other towns, as we shall see in this paper. By 1861, Lagos was colonized. In 1897, rather, Opobo in Delta region was colonized. Ijebu-Ode in 1892. Bida and Ilorin, 1897. Ondo Kingdom, February 20, 1889. Akure Kingdom, 1897. Owo Kingdom, 1893. Idanre Kingdom, September 4, 1894. And Leluju Kingdom, 1899. That was the beginning of colonial rule. Until 1914, what in rule, but by 1914, one joined the North and Southern Protectorate. So ayé tí ọba ń jẹ before then now stop. Ọba ò tó pànìyàn mọ́. But wọ́n ti fún àwọn kábíyèsí, wọ́n ti fún wọn ní authority àti manage àfíà sí wọn. And by 1914, the British joined the North and the South together. That's what we call the amalgamation of Nigeria under Lord Lugard. So one rule. It was there in 1914 that Nigeria became a country, rather, but under the Southern and Northern Protectorates. And by 1951, there was this constitution, the Macpherson Constitution, ìwé ìlànà òfin bá a ṣe máa ṣèjọba Nigeria. Before then, we have the Richard Constitution of 1922. But by particularly 1951 Constitution, it was very significant because it gave traditional rulers some key actors in governance. Because if you look at that topic, the role of traditional rulers in contemporary Nigeria politics and governance, àwọn ló bá lónìí ìjọba, àwọn ló ń ṣèjọba. Gẹ́gẹ́ mo ṣe sọ bá ṣe bẹ̀rẹ̀ lẹ́sọ̀ yìí, àwọn ló ní market, àwọn ló ní council, àwọn ló ní everything. The constituted road. In fact, Professor Aji ó sọ pé ó ní around 1800 pé tí àwọn téèyàn bá fẹ́ mọ káàkiri from one town to the other, àwọn ọlọ́dẹ máa ń wà láàrin ọ̀nà. for example, láti èèyàn fẹ́ kíra láti ìlọ́lú jùlọ Ondo ọlọ́dẹ àwà. They maintain peace, they maintain security, but by 1861 upward àwọn òyìnbó dé wọ́n gbàgbára lọ́wọ́ kábíyèsí because of resources tí wàá tán fẹ́ kó lọ. And nígbà táwọn òyìnbó lọ wọ́n hand over fún àwọn alágbádá, as we shall see. So the Constitution of 1951 by Macpherson, he was a governor general. Ó wà lá àwọn ọba mọ̀ pé ó realize náà pé àwọn kábíyèsí pé wọ́n mọ nǹkan ṣe, wọ́n mọ̀ ètò ìlú tò. Wọ́n allow kábíyèsí to participate in governance. Unlike today, as we shall see in the paper, ditto to 1960 Constitution and the Republic Constitution of 1963, we shall see. He allowed, but unfortunately, by 1979 and 1999 constitutions, practically they removed kábíyèsí participation. And an attempt being made last year, February 2025, whereby a members of House of Representatives proposed a bill to give role to amend section 220 of the 1999 Constitution to allow kábíyèsí to participate in governance. It didn't survive the second reading. So as we go on, we shall begin to see. So by 1960 Constitution and the Republic Constitution of 1963 granted recognition to traditional rulers as key actors in governance. A notable example is the appointment of Sir Adesoji Aderemi, a one-time Ooni of Ife, as the first African governor in British Empire and Commonwealth. He was the governor. And as we shall see some other kábíyèsí. And it is on record that Macpherson Constitution integrated traditional rulers into regional electoral process, allowing them to help select members of regional houses of assembly. Look at that. Today, it's being considered as a taboo for kábíyèsí to get involved. The kábíyèsí that is the owner of the community, the kábíyèsí that is even no more than the politician. I'm sorry, with due respect to the kábíyèsí who knows where it hurts. So they also participate directly in indirect election processes as intermediate electoral college in the western and northern region. Because in the eastern region, there wasn't a traditional institution that can be comparable to what operates in the western and the northern region. Because before the colonial period, it's council of chief. Unlike today, tí àwọn Igbo tán wọ́n ní kábíyèsí tán ní gbogbo ẹ̀ báyìí, ìgbà wọn yẹn wọn ò ní kábíyèsí. There wasn't a strong traditional institution like what we have in Yoruba land and in Donald land. That's why I want to commend the book of Professor Banji Akintoye. It's a must read for kábíyèsí. And even Samuel Johnson. That one was published in 1921. Again, the 1960 Constitution, because we are talking about kábíyèsí and the governance, the role of kábíyèsí, and this has been a recurrent decimal that will be clamoring since the inception of maybe Third Republic in 1979. If the colonial government could allow the participation of kábíyèsí in governance, as we shall see, as we have heard, why is it that àwọn ọmọ wa, àwọn èèyàn wa, why are they afraid of kábíyèsí? You will say kábíyèsí should be insulated from politics. Are we not political animals? The 1960 Constitution, please permit me to read it, gave traditional rulers formal advisory and legislative recognition through regional chamber like the House of Chiefs. Kábíyèsí Ọlọ́wọ̀ of Ọ̀wọ̀, I think maybe the second Ọba Ọlágbẹ̀gí was the House of Chief. I've mentioned it earlier, and there are so many other Kábíyèsí as we shall see. In the bilateral legislature operated in northern and western region, traditional rulers sat along a house or assembly. They also vetted regional legislation, review policy decision, among others. What are we saying? This was 1960 Constitution. I earlier mentioned 1951 McPherson Constitution. Traditional rulers sat along the House of Assembly members. They also vetted there something. Let's go to the Republican Constitution of 1963. It provided opportunity for our royal fathers to hold formal, recognized legislative and advisory position within the governance structure. I am not the manufacturer of this. It's on record. I read this before I ventured into law. It's on record. And some of the book I've mentioned is a thing that you can get a copy and read. It speaks for itself. Like lawyer will say, reps issa liquitor. The facts speak for itself. Essentially, the 1963 Constitution, that Republican Constitution, because Nigeria became a republic country in 1963, and the Constitution that was done there, we still have some element of white men around. The Constitution integrated traditional ruler directly into federal and regional parliament, giving them active institutional role in statecraft. They participate actively in statecraft, that is state administration. At the federal level of governance, the 1963 Constitution designated the Oba of Lagos as an ex-official member of the Federal Senate. There were specific seats for such as white cap chiefs, war chiefs, among other allocated traditional chiefs. What I've stated is just a tip of iceberg. There are so many areas that one can quote as to the participation of traditional rulers in governance, particularly between 1951 to 1966. By 1966, that was the end of the First Republic, when Agoyin Resourcing took over. Then the sharp contrast. We have talked about the three constitutions before now. The McPherson, the 1960 and 1963. But what about the 1979 and 1999 Constitution? There is where we have the sharp contrast. We have been enjoying, Kábíyèsí have been participating, and it's not on record that they didn't do very well. It's not on record. If it had been on record that, okay, this Kábíyèsí of this has not done well, these are highly intelligent obas across the country. Unfortunately, the 1979 and 1999 Constitution stood in a sharp contrast with the aforementioned Constitution, as traditional rulers were excluded from governance, relegating them to ceremonial roles and strip of direct legislative powers and former constitutional mandates. This is where the clamor now begins. This is where we miss it. Ẹni tó lóúnjẹ tó wá ń da ẹni tó ń bẹ̀bẹ̀ ká fóun lóúnjẹ. Who owns the land? Is it not Kábíyèsí? Who is close to the grassroots? Is it not Kábíyèsí? They don't begin to beg. And they want to say that, okay, Kabiyesi should not pray politics. Politics. And they come and meet Kabiyesi and beg Kabiyesi to talk to the people, to vote for them. This unfortunate act was not helped by decades of military regime. From 1966 to 1979, there was this long military interregnum. The constitution was suspended. It was put in abeyance. And by 1979 constitution, which was midwife, like 1999 by the military. Though it's not the military only, because we have civilian. Because we have constitutional assembly that propose a constitution, and it's the civilian that work there, not the military. The constitutional assembly that produced the 1979 constitution and 1999 constitution, civilian ló wà ńbẹ̀, army ò sí ńbẹ̀. Àwọn lo àwọn ọmọ wa, wọ́n deny Kábíyèsí the entitlement. So as you can see, it is a sharp contrast. If we had been able to build on it by now, like I said earlier, because there has not been any query or any adverse report as to the fact that Oba Adeyemi did not do well, or any cabinet had not done well. But why? The sharp contrast. So, the military khaki boys tinkered with almost all aspects of governance at their pleasure, weakening the influence of traditional institutions in statecraft, diminish their roles only to adversary capacity. What would have thought that the civilian government, but not today, 1999, they will do. They still follow the step. Selfishness. The civilian government that took over from them has not been helpful either. The status quo has been sustained. The clamor for constitutional review to integrate traditional institutions in governance has not yielded positive result. An attempt made by the House of Representatives, the Green Chamber, on July 29, 2025, to push a bill through to provide for the roles of traditional rulers in Nigeria, amending Section 220 of 1999 Constitution of Federal Republic of Nigeria, was not successful. It didn't pass through the second reading. Who are the members of the National Assembly House of Rep? Are they khaki boys? No. They are civilians like you and I, sir. It is believed that this is a work in progress. And for how long will it be a work in progress? The second aspect of the paper, the traditional roles of Obas and chief. The issue of Oba participating in governance is the one I have spoken earlier. And the factor that has mitigated it, apart from khaki boys, even the civilians, they didn't help matters. Gbogbo constitution tán ṣe, either 79, 99, civilian ló wà ńbẹ̀. Constitutional Assembly, I think at a time, Rotimi Williams was the chairman of Constitutional Assembly that backed the 1979 Constitution. Now, the second leg of this paper, the traditional roles of Obas and chiefs. We have, number one, we have power of prescribed authority. Ondo State Chief Law, Cap 27, Laws of Ondo State, 2006. Provide for others, Section 1 there. What is known as recognized chief, that is the Obas. Section 1 there, provide for Obas. And Obas has prescribed authority, but given to him by the governor. That is, the prescribed authority is power of a Kabiyesi to appoint a lesser chief, or minor chief rather, under Section 2 of that law. We have two categories of chief. We have the recognized chief, that is the Kabiyesis, recognized under Part 1 of the chief law. Another Part 2 provide for the Oloyo Ijoyes, either high chief, ward chief, Ikule, other ranking of chiefs. And the cabinet has a prescribed authority, but that prescribed authority is a delegated power of the governor. But the governor will not interact with it. The power of a cabinet or Oba to appoint Lisa, to appoint any of the chiefs is what is known as prescribed authority. So the cabinet has that power, and it can use it. But it must be very judicial and judicious. In pre-1981, the year the report of the Morgan Chieftaincy Review Commission was published, when Ondo State was created in 1976, because it was evolved from the Western region, and many of the traditional rulers, they don't have what we call chieftaincy declarations. And chieftaincy declaration is a declaration that is done and approved by the governor, that is specify the step that needed to be taken for the appointment of Kabiyesi or other minor chiefs. So Adenika Morgan was the chairman of that commission, I think from 1977 to 1981. So before then, there was what is known as paramount rulers among the Kabiyesis. But in Ondo State, that was abolished by Morgan Commission of Inquiry. But even a state like Oyo and Osun, I think they still have a paramount rulers. That is what it means. The paramountcy of a recognized chief is to the extent that he must be able to consent for the appointment of a lesser chief. That is, it goes hand in hand, paramountcy with consenting authority. That is, before a lesser chief can be appointed, under you, that Kabiyesi must consent. That is, he must accept. But in some state of the federation, they have both the paramountcy as well as the consenting authority. But you know, those states we don't have. And I think when Honorable Justice Ajama, Commissioner of Inquiry, not too far ago, I think there was a paper before it. I don't know whether it was a section or not. 2, making of community laws. We are talking about the roles, the duty of Kabiyesis. The first leg of my paper, I had narrated where we started. The Kabiyesi in the yesteryears, when they were so powerful, they cannot be challenged. They are the owner of the land, and nobody can challenge, because there was no any other government. There was no civilian government, there was no military government, there was no colonial government. And I now talk about when the colonial came. Even they still allow them, like McPherson Constitution, 1960 Constitution, and 1963 Republican Constitution, until 1977, I mean 1979, and 1999 Constitution, whereby took away everything. Making of community laws, the Kabiyesi had the legal competence to make community laws. 3, maintenance of law and order. The Kabiyesi, through setting up a committee to liaise with chief and every other thing, they maintain law and order within their community. And government do seek for their assistance so that they can maintain law. So they assist in the maintenance of law. And you even discover that most of the Kabiyesi, the first class Kabiyesi, they are members of Security and Intelligence Committee meeting of the local government. They are members of the Security and Intelligence Committee meetings, where security matters decisions are being taken. And even in the palace of Kabiyesi hardly sleep. There is this minor dispute, they settle there. I remember during Honorable Justice Akeredolu's regime, there was a seminar that took place at Japo there. I think I even deliver the paper there. That is the palace court. And he published a manual that's been operated with a palace court. So even with a palace court, minors civil matters are being settled. These are part of KBACs, and they have been doing it, and they are doing well. So traditional religious function, they perform traditional religious function. Traditional right to appease gods of the land who are adjudged as God's intermediary or knight. Determining chieftaincy dispute. A lot of chieftaincy dispute. With the KBAC, the recognized chief do settled. Education in palace court, I mentioned that there earlier. Palace court has been constituted today. Cases that are determined, any aggrieved person can appeal from palace court to the customary court of appeal. There's a manual. That manual was published by Honorable Justice Agredolu in year 2019. We have a manual for palace court. Civil functions. I have a long list of civil functions there. I think we can go through so that at least I won't have to waste our time because of the next paper. We have civil function and roles there. We have, in general term, roles of recognized chief or oba in governance. We have them there, which they speak for itself. Duties of minor chiefs is in the paper. The kingmakers or whatever. The quarter or the quarter head chiefs. The coolers in places like Ondo, Ileluji, and Idanre. We have what we call the cooler chiefs. All the elegbeds, the war chief, the priest, the aworos. They all have roles to play. The two of kingmakers is here. And one area that I want to make this observation, that even in the chief law, there is no provision for high chief there. So I think it's one area that the KBA Institute can maybe if there's a communique here, they can let it there. There's no provision in the chief law for the position of high chiefs. Because all chiefs are called as minor chiefs. But I think there must be a provision for high chief in the chief law. The two of kingmakers, they are listed here. The two of war chiefs here. Quarter ward or quarter chiefs. They have the priest duties, etc., etc. And finally, too, the roles of Ondo State Council of Traditional Rulers, too. Many of our KBC, they are members of State Traditional Council of Chiefs. Their roles and responsibility. Finally, once again, it's an opportunity to be here. I want to thank the Honorable Commissioner, the KBC, for this. I greet you, sirs.
Thank you very much, Prince Barrister Ade Akimbosade. Please let me hand you over to the chairman of the segment, who is to do a wrap-up of all that Prince Akimbosade has said within 2 to 3 minutes. Abiyesi.
Kábíyèsí o, mo kí yín o, ẹ kú àtàárọ̀ o. Ìkànnù àwọn ọmọ wa pàtàkì, Barrister Ade Akimbosade, sorry, Esquire, wọ́n ṣiṣẹ́ ní State Civil Service. Gẹ́gẹ́ bá ń ṣe sọ, he rose to the rank of permanent secretary. Wọ́n dẹ̀ kọ ìwé nípa àwọn traditional institutions, I remember. So, màá tí àwọn ìwé wọ̀nyẹn báyìí wà, màá fẹ́ pé kí irú èní báyìí àbá kó wá. Torí ọ̀pọ̀lọpọ̀ àwọn kábíyèsí wa a ti pọ̀ sí ju ti tẹ́lẹ̀tẹ́lẹ̀ báyìí. so wọ́n bá ka ìwé yẹn tó jẹ́ pé á tún jẹ́ kí gbogbo èyí tí a ń sọ yìí kó yé wa dáadáa. Kábíyèsí Mr. Adé Akínbọ̀sádé Esquire wọ́n ti ṣe àlàyé lọ́pọ̀lọpọ̀ gẹ́gẹ́ bí agbára àwa ọba ṣe rí kó tó di pé àwọn òyìnbó wá gbà lọ́wọ́ wa. Àwa la ní kóòtù, àwa la ní prison, àwa la ní ọlọ́pàá, gbogbo nǹkan la nígbà wọ̀nyẹn. Kò sí ẹni tó lè béèrè tí ọba bá ti ṣe nǹkan ó ṣe gbé nìyẹn. Bọ̀tí nísìnyí kò sẹ́yìn tó kóòtù wo tó lè fẹ́ gbé ọba lọ nígbà tó jẹ́ pé òun gan ló ní kóòtù. Bọ̀tí nísìnyí wọ́n ti ń gbé wa lọ kóòtù. Ara àwọn nǹkan tí ó ṣẹlẹ̀ lẹ́yìn ìgbà tí àwọn òyìnbó dé, wọ́n ti ṣe àlàyé lọ́nà mẹ́ta nígbà tá a wà tí ò sóyìnbó tó jẹ́ pé àwa fúnra wa la ń ṣe ìjọba, à ń ṣe ìdájọ́, a ní àmì gbogbo nǹkan tí ó wà àwa ni. Gẹ́gẹ́ bá ṣe sọ ńgbà yẹn, àwa ni commander in chief, a ní àwọn àmì wa tá a rán níṣẹ́ káàkiri. But by that was before 1861. By 1861, Lagos territory, àwọn òyìnbó wọ́n fọwọ́ síwèé pẹ̀lú wọn, wọ́n gba agbára yẹn díẹ̀díẹ̀. Wọ́n tẹ̀ dé ọ̀dọ̀ ọ̀rẹ́ mi l'Ondo, Ìdànrè àti àwọn ìlú bẹ́ẹ̀ bẹ́ẹ̀ tí wọ́n ní tí àwọn òyìnbó sọ́yìn tí wọ́n bá wọn fi ọwọ́ síwèé. By 1914, there was amalgamation of northern and southern protectorate. Ní gbogbo táìmù yẹn, nígbà tó wá di bí 1951 títí di 66, ẹ rí pé kó ló di pé kú dé, àwọn ọba ní House of Chiefs ní Ìbàdàn tí ESCO bá ṣe annual budget, wọ́n tún máa fi ránṣẹ́ sí House of Chiefs for their input. So kó ló di pé wọ́n pass into law, but kò rí bẹ́ẹ̀ má báyìí o. 1966 àwọn ológun dé, àwa àti àwọn ológun làwa jọ ń ṣe gbogbo agbára yẹn, wọ́n gbà á. After that one, lẹ́yìn tí àwọn ológun ti fẹ́ láwọn fẹ́ lọ 1979 to 1960, 1979 to 1983, 1999. Even 79 bí 83 yẹn, wọ́n tẹ̀ tí fún àwọn ọba ní agbára díẹ̀, because immediately after the State Service Commission, you have Council of Chiefs. Gbogbo wọn yẹn ni wọ́n wá mú kúrò. Àwọn ológun ló mú kúrò. Mo rántí pé èmi gẹ́gẹ́ bí alága ńgbà yẹn, mo wà lára àwọn ọba tó lọ bá Abdulsalam Abubakar tó ránṣẹ́ pé ká wá lọ kí ó wá dúpẹ́ lọ́wọ́ wa. But alẹ́ ọjọ́ yẹn làwa ní Sultan Masido ó ránṣẹ́ wá bá Ọọ̀ni Síjúadé ní àwa tá a wá ní ìpínlẹ̀ Káàárọ̀ Oòjíire, a wà pẹ̀lú bàbá ọkùnrin Adé Síjúadé nígbà yẹn, ní sùtù wọn. Sultan Masidi wa ránṣẹ́ oníjẹ́ àti rí constitution 1999 pé wọ́n máa ti yọ wá kúrò ń bẹ pátápátá o. Adẹ̀lá àti ìrí lálẹ́ ọjọ́ yẹn mo mọ̀ pé Sulu Gambari ni he retired as a court of appeal kó tó di pé di ẹ̀mọ́ of Ìlọrin. So he was the chairman. Èmi náà wà lára àwọn tó ṣiṣẹ́ yẹn àṣìṣe yẹn mọ́jú àwọn nǹkan àtúnṣe tá à ń fẹ́ kó wọ́n ṣe láti dá wa padà. So gbà tó dẹ̀ di ọjọ́ kejì á lọ kí aláàmà pé a ṣe nǹkan kan gbà tó jẹ́ pé ìbá recognition tẹ́ ẹ fún wa ẹ tún mú kúrò. Àwa ní kàn jọ kó ló di pé wọ́n sign the 1999 into law kó make sure pé ó dá padà. He promised us but àwọn tó mọ̀ sọ pé kò ní ṣe and he didn't do it. Ẹnu yẹn la wà láti gbà yẹn o. Kọ́ńtẹ̀ wàá gbà gẹ́gẹ́ bí ẹni tó dá wa lẹ́kọ̀ọ́ ṣe sọ bọ́ńtẹ̀ gbà pé àwọn military ló ṣe yẹn but àwọn tó ti ń ṣe láti gbà yẹn àwọn ọmọ wa ni tábà ń dìbò fún wọlé táàdẹ̀ ń sọ pé ẹtún kìíní ṣe ẹ ṣe lé àwọn bá ti rí wọn wọ́n ti bá wọn sọ̀rọ̀ á ti ṣe gbogbo ẹ̀ up to now maybe wọ́n á ṣe lọ́la. So ibi tí in summary nǹkan tí ẹni tó dá wa lẹ́kọ̀ọ́ tó sọ nìyẹn. So mo rò pé wọ́n ti ṣe ìdánilẹ́kọ̀ọ́. wọ́n ṣe. No, kì í ṣe bẹ́ẹ̀ after 11 la bẹ̀rẹ̀. So àyè wà láti béèrè ìbéèrè o. Àwọn àmọ̀ bóyá paper lecturer ṣé ẹ make available fún àwa ọba ẹjọ́ ó ṣe pàtàkì o.
Gbogbo lectures yìí náà fẹ́ kó sínú flash drive tó ń dẹ̀ máa fún gbogbo ọba pátá tó bá ti ń parí á wà ní package tó máa gbà tó bá ti fẹ́ máa lọ.
Okay.
Ẹ ṣé.
Àyè wà láti
Question time.
Àyè wà láti béèrè ẹni tó bá ní ìbéèrè lórí nǹkan tó ń ti sọ. Role àwọn ọba. No, what I mean, the position before the colonial, after colonial, báwọn military ṣe gbà bá ti ṣe struggle láti gbà nǹkan tó ń sọ.
The chairman of the session and our lecturer for today, thank you so much for the beautiful lecture. I appreciate you. I observe that you're tracing the colonial incursion, the historical incursion in Ondo State, in the southwest, particularly in Ondo State, was limited to Ondo North and Central. That is one. Number two, that the colonial incursion was equally limited to the treaties. That is second observation on that segment. However, since we still have other lectures to come in the near future, I want our research to be more elaborate and broad-based. The Ondo South suffers serious colonial activities from the Portuguese, and it's on record, and there are so many publications to that effect. Same for the Benin Empire, where Oba Ovarome was abducted. In a bid to take him to England, he was dropped in Calabar, where he eventually passed on. So these are the areas I observe on that. Number two, it's not for you directly. There's an opportunity again to re-echo this. They are still using the chief's law in Ondo State. Still using the chief's law in Ondo State. Yes, I want us, or those who are compiling the communique, to let it come out. We have said this severally during the council meetings. Lagos State has since adopted, they have since changed to Oba's laws. Ogun, Oyo has changed to Oba's and Chief's laws. Why are we still using the colonial laws we are here to condemn today in the 21st century? Thank you so much.
Mo kí Kábíyèsí Olúbàkà tí wọ́n ń darí section yìí. Tábálẹ̀ a fẹ́ kúrò ní colonial era, ẹ má jẹ́ ká máa sọ òyìnbó láwùjọ ọba mọ́. Àkọ́kọ́ kúrò lórí yẹn. Ìkejì ni Kábíyèsí ti sọ yẹn. Nǹkan tó bá ń jẹ́ atọ́nà fún wa, òun ni wá máa pè wá. Tí nǹkan tó ń jẹ́ atọ́nà fún wa bá ń jẹ́ chief's law, a jẹ́ pé Yorùbá chief ní ìjòyè, òun ni wá. Ó yẹ kí chairman wa ò sí ń bí. Nǹkan tó yẹ kí any chairman tó bá jẹ kó kọ́kọ́ fight fún nìyẹn. Kì í ṣe ìjọba orílẹ̀-èdè ló máa change law yẹn. Ìjọba Ondo State ló máa ṣe, à ń ṣe ìjòyè. Ọba ni wá. Ọba's law kì í ṣe chief's law. Ìyẹn àkọ́kọ́. Ìkejì, ẹ tún mẹ́nu bà ọ̀rọ̀ arbitration pé tó bá ṣẹjọ́ ní palace, tó bá ṣe báyìí. Mo fẹ́ kẹ́ tún bá wa wò ó. Ṣé ẹjọ́ palace tí wọ́n bá gbé lọ court, that judgment, ṣé ó wà persuasive ni or ó wà binding? However, though, ó depend lé bọ́ bá ṣe ń ṣe, màá máa refer ní gbogbo ìgbà sí Kábíyèsí Olúbàkà. Mo ti ṣe ẹjọ́ ní court tó jẹ́ pé ó jẹ́ ẹjọ́ ilẹ̀ àti chieftaincy lọ́dọ̀ wọn tá lọ defend client wa ní court. Tó dẹ̀ jẹ́ pé the way and manner tó fi ṣe judgment yẹn, adájọ́ mi gan ò lè kọ judgment bẹ́ẹ̀. Tá a dẹ̀ pé ẹni tó kọ́ tó wá present yẹ, táwọn méjèèjì both parties tí wọ́n submit ara wọn to the jurisdiction of the said adjudicator or adjudication. Ìjẹ́ ó now ṣó wà persuasive ni àbí ó wà binding ní court? Then báwo ni a ṣe máa ṣe tí ó kàn ní jẹ́ pé pépà là á gbé lọ pé ẹjọ́ ìwọ ti gbé wá palace o, àwọn méjèèjì wọ́n ní pé wọ́n gbà kí palace dá o, tí palace kàn sọ pé ìgbà tí wọ́n sọ pé ìwọ ló ṣe báyìí, ìwọ ló ṣe báyìí, ìwọ ló ní ilé, ìwọ ló lélẹ̀, iṣẹ́ yẹn wà tenable àbí báwo la ṣe máa ṣe tó jẹ́ pé ilé ẹjọ́ gan á rí, wọ́n á lè gbà gẹ́gẹ́ bí ẹjọ́ tí ààfin ti dá. Ẹ ṣé.
Kábíyèsí, ẹ jẹ́ kí n answer question yẹn. Ìgbà tí mo ń give lecture, mo sọ nípa Palace Court Manual. It was a product of Honourable Justice O.O. Akeredolu, the first the second female Chief Judge of Ondo State. In fact, he actually did it in 2019, and there was a seminar. I remember because I was part of the resource person there. It was held in Japan. There was a seminar. And I think that seminar took place for a whole day, whereby we were led through. And there was a palace manual that was actually published then. In the palace manual, we have step by step. Palace court is a process. Just like we have we have magistrate court, high court, court of appeal, and supreme court. Case tó bá wà ní palace court tó bá ṣe, ó wà nínú manual, there must be a secretary. One of administrators of local government supposed to be a secretary, whereby there must be a record book. When you, it's a matter, I want to agree, they must agree, party must agree. Okay? Their cases must be treated in the palace court. One subject around see, and it must be a record book, whereby just like in high court or magistrate court, that's a record book. In the case of appeal, you have to produce that record and you send it to higher level. So it was part of the decision then that okay, appeal can go from palace court to customary court of appeal. But the jurisdiction of palace court is essentially civil matter. You don't have legal competence on a criminal matter and minor civil matter for that matter, minor. But àwọn èèyàn tó bá kẹjọ wá wọ́n gbọ́dọ̀ agree. Tẹ́nìkan bá yarí pé òun wá òun fẹ́ lọ court, you allow him to go. But the two parties must agree. And when you have a record book now, tó wọ́n fẹ́ appeal, wọ́n á wá kọ record yẹn. It's part of the process that we appeal it. But the two parties must subject themselves to it. And àwọn kábíyèsí mi ṣe wọ́n ṣe. Because part of the recommendation was that one of the admin officers in local government now, you should be serve as secretary. And you have a very book. Whatever case, decide, you write the name of the plaintiff, the defendant, and the case number, everything. You have it documented. And it's binding. It's binding. There's no record of it. That one cannot hold. We have some palaces that they do it. They do it. I wouldn't want to mention it here. And it's binding. Tama appeal against the court to also send here. If it is done with the manual. I think Kabezi have answered that. Maybe that should be another question. Sorry, Kabezi.
Okay.
Sorry,
Justice, there's a topic that has to do tomorrow. Palace court and the relevance of its existence to the Orthodox court arbitration decision by Honorable Justice Mrs. Eunice Alade. Tomorrow he will be here by the grace of God. And more questions will be raised on that issue. Thank you.
I still have a question now. I still have a question. Okay.
Chairman, Kabisi, pé even àwọn colonial master tó ń wá nígbà tó ń wá ni wọ́n á sọ pé báwo ni King of England ṣe máa jẹ́ king táwa náà ṣe máa jẹ́ king náà fi ṣéǹjì gbogbo system wa. Wọ́n dẹ̀ kì í dájọ́ king ò kì í dájọ́ ní England now torí pé our court is too expensive ló jẹ́ ká ń gbaṣẹ́ tá a máa jókòó tá a dájọ́ tó dẹ̀ sí any reward. No reward. Tàbí do you get paid for the? No. Ká ní kì í ṣe ibi tí mo wá ń sìn mo máa jókòó from morning till evening. Because if you go to court now for divorce, ẹjọ́ pẹ́pẹ́pẹ́, you paid for the lawyer, you paid for necessary documents, but it's cheaper to come to us. Àádẹ́ tẹ́ wọn lọ́rùn, but we don't have reward for it. Kò sẹ́jọ́ wa tó ń gbé dé court tó ń dànù because we do it accordingly. Wọn kì í dẹ́jọ́ wa dànù. So mo fẹ́ kí àwọn wọ́n tó àti ń ṣe gbogbo kíní wọ̀nyí kẹ́ there was a time tó ń fẹ́ tí a ṣe meeting náà tó ń fẹ́ sọ kíní wa da customary yes customary court tó jẹ́ pé a máa wà legal, anything we do will be legal, But too much going to happen. We work too much, we advocate for so many kejeki, anything tabache, one can say it's not legal, it's not legal, it's not legal. Then that most of the cases, legal. Àwọn ọmọ tó ń da ní kóòtù wọn, they are, they are our children. So make it tiwa náà bó tẹ̀ ṣe customary tó bá ti da appeal ní kó máa lọ. Iye wa tún ṣe lọ sí appeal. Customary cause of appeal kì í ṣe pé àṣẹ máa ń sáká kiri because tó bá ti pẹ́jọ́ wá sí tó bá ti sọ pé ẹjọ́ wọn straight no wọ́n á sọ pé wọ́n ti lọ sí court màá dẹ̀ sọ pé go to court. But our own must be legal too. Ṣé àtò dájọ́ ni? Bàbá ẹ̀ máa ti ṣe adájọ́ rí tàbí.
I think what we need to do, our lára àwọn communicate on my issue so that the Ministry of Justice will work on it. Yes?
Àṣẹ kábíyèsí Olúbàkà àti gbogbo àwọn orí adé tó wà lórí high table and our guest lecturer. My question, màá sọ Òyìnbó màá dẹ̀ tún máa sọ Yorùbá torí àti lè question ní 1999 constitution we established a democratic representative system, and this one seems to contradict the monarch system of hereditary and feudal nature. Now my question is this, talking seriously, because I got a master auto for hour in a seminar like this, and I want us to look at it academically. My question is it, sir, is it feasible for a monarchical system to function effectively in a republican system? Now, whatever answer you have, the next question is, how do we in Nigeria, in our system, work together to ensure that we fuse this system together to function? Because, our governance go our palace court could be straight to be integrated into the judicial system. So I think this is my question. Thank you very much.
Kabesi,
Chairman.
if I actually got your question, you said is monarchical government vis-a-vis democratic government.
Yes. Can they really?
Is it possible to synergize?
Yes.
I think there are two different levels. There are two types of government. When you talk about monarchical government, it's about a monarch that is an Oba. Yes. Like we have in Spain, like we have in England. The head of government is the king, and in Spain too. But the leader of the house, the prime minister, is civilian. But that one is because it's a function of history. History. You know, England have been the leader of the world for so many years. And they have been practicing monarchical government. Just like Spain. So if, assuming that European did not come, and we are able to sustain the monarchical government that it was before the incursion of 1861, the Lagos becoming a colony, possibly by now, the two styles of government will have been merged, having a king or a monarch as the president. But I don't think we can go back now. And even beside that, today, people prefer to go for a democratically elected government, which is more popular, which is it attracts so many individuals. You know that even today, people are even suggesting that the ownership should be democratized. That they should contest for it. To tell you that democracy is very important. People are suggesting that instead of being from father to son or from this for that, now that it should be by democracy. There's a suggestion. I think Kabiyesi may have be able to answer that.
No, sir. Excuse me, sir.
Yes, sir.
Hello, sir. I'm not
Sorry,
yet satisfied.
It's okay. The next lecturer in 2 hours time is flying out. So we are going to call him. We'll still have, by the time you get the paper, you'll be able to read and make your comment. And that most of our requests, those who are going to draft the communique, thank you very much.
Ẹ ṣé kábíyèsí. Mo kí àwọn kábíyèsí ní ẹ̀kan sí. Thank you for your support and your patience so far. Let me just respond to one fundamental issue raised by the kábíyèsí Alálẹ̀ of Owale as regard the amendment to our chief law. The process is already on, kábíyèsí. Very soon, hopefully before the end of the year, we should be done. And we'll be having a new law that will bear Obas and chief law in Ondo State. Okay, yeah, Oda Kábíyèsí. Well, I am an apostle of that Kábíyèsí. So, ọjọ́ bó ṣe jẹ́. So, gbogbo àwọn nǹkan tí ó wà nílẹ̀, rí àwọn topics wa, we are taking care of it. After this, there will be communique. All the communique will be attended to by God's grace. So, ẹ ṣé.
Thank you very much, Kábíyèsí. We are moving on to the next lecture. And the title of the lecture says Promoting Local Entrepreneurship and Growth. And this paper is to be presented by the Special Advisor to the Governor on Entrepreneurship Development in Ondo State here. To chair this segment, okay. I want to invite our own princess in the ministry, Mrs. Bolaji Obideyi, to read a citation of the resource person, Dr. Sumi Smarts.
Good afternoon, my Kábíyèsís. Protocols duly observed. That says the citation of Sumi Smart Francis also is a profile overview. Sumi Smart Francis, HT, is a social and serial entrepreneur with a vast experience in entrepreneurship development. He has developed and initiated several programs that were implemented in different parts of Africa, geared towards the growth and development of African entrepreneurs. He studied entrepreneurship in emerging economics at Harvard University and copyright creative direction from AAA School of Advertising, Johannesburg, South Africa. He is a special advisor, entrepreneurship, innovation, and investment to Ondo State Governor, Ondo State, Nigeria, and chairman of the Ondo State Entrepreneurship Agency, ONDEA, the first entrepreneurship agency in Nigeria. Sumi Smart Francis is the founder of Africans Young Entrepreneurs, AYE, the foremost entrepreneurship organization in Africa, with footprints in 20 countries across the continent. He is the chairman of SSF Investment, executive creative director of Mega Minds Production, and he sits on the board of several other companies and organizations across Africa as a non-executive director. Sumi Smart Francis is the president of the world's first entrepreneurship village, which is fondly known as African Silicon Valley, a haven for great innovation, creativity, collaboration, technology, and knowledge transfer. A TEDx speaker and a board member of the Global Speakers Academy. Sumi Smart Francis is the first honorary doctor of entrepreneurship in Nigeria. It was recognized and awarded by TB University, Brooklyn, USA. He is the recipient of several awards and certifications globally. Sumi Smart Francis is the president of the Global Entrepreneurship Festival, the biggest entrepreneurship event in the world. The biggest annual event that addresses the 17 SDG goals. Sumi Smart Francis is a visionary leader, continent builder, Pan-African, philanthropist, and creative enthusiast. He lives daily by his mantra that says, I am Sumi Smart Francis, and I am nothing without God. My KBSs, kindly welcome Sumi Smart Francis.
Thank you very much. While he is yet coming, I have the pleasure to invite His Imperial Majesty Obakintoye Felix Adeoye Dioluoke of Okebo, because he is an entrepreneur, and want to invite him to join the top table to chair this segment. Please put your hands together. Okay, bam ṣe kábíyèsí o, mo ti gbà pé akin pàtẹ́wọ́ fún kábíyèsí.
Hello, 1, 2, 1, 2. 1, 2. You want to put it in? Kábíyèsí o, ẹ káàsán o, ká dúpẹ́ lórí o, kí bàtà pẹ́ lẹ́sẹ̀, kówó pọ̀ lápò, kówó dẹ̀ pọ̀ nílùú o. Ṣé kí n dìde? Ẹ lọ ní kí n dìde o. Ẹ lọ fún mi permission kí n sọ̀rọ̀. Ẹ ṣé o. Mr. Chairman, sir, thank you very much. The chairman of this session, thank you very much, sir, the DG of Akure. Thank you. It's such a privilege to stand here. And of course, the Honorable Commissioner and the planning committee of such a great event. Thank you very, very much. Kábíyèsí, tẹ́ bá notice ìgbà tí mo bẹ̀rẹ̀ ọ̀rọ̀ yìí, mo ní kí mo wá di kí owó pọ̀ lápò, kówó dẹ̀ pọ̀ nílùú. That is because this conversation is about economy. And economy is very, very important when we talk about leadership. Because taba wo you know, bí Mr. Governor ṣe sọ lánàá, wọ́n ní Ondo State is here. The entire kingdom of Ondo State is here. And tẹ́bí bá ń pọ́n mọ́ òlu, ọba ọlọ́mọ tètè sábà o, kọ́ tiẹ̀ tó rántí commissioner kan, àbí special adviser kan, àbí honourable member, ọba everybody in Keloba. That is why it's very important that we make sure that we understand the economy, our economic advantage, and we use that for the prosperity of our kingdoms. At this stage, it more or less feels like an Oba that cannot provide for his community. It's going to be very, very challenging. You know. Crime, disorderliness, so many things would happen. And that is why I want to thank the Honorable Commissioner for putting this topic into this session. Very, very and highly applaudable. If you don't mind, the planning committee and the commissioners here. As I said, the king is the closest to the people. And very unlike a governor or a president, that after 4 years or 8 years, Oba is there for a lifetime. So if we don't create a solution now, the problem might be there for a lifetime. As I stand there, I just saw my own cabinet right in front of me. The love of really, Oba Samuel Odimayo Mukinza. Thank you very much for being here. So if we don't solve that problem, because ibi tó bá ń lọ, ibi tó bá wá ṣe máa wà nìyẹn. So it's very important that we address this problem, because Oba has no 4 years or 8-year tenure, but rather than to solve that problem. And I am glad that we are going to address it here today. Well, for me, this is not a lecture. It's very impossible for me to even stand here before you to give lectures to my fathers. For me, this is a partnership conversation. How do we partner together, even with government, to make sure that we tap into the opportunities in your states, in your communities? It will be shocking to know that you are even sitting on top of a gold mine and you might not even understand or realize. Ibi táyé tiẹ̀ ń lọ sìn gbogbo nǹkan ló ti ń dowó, everything ti ń dowó, èèyàn ń ṣe fídíò lásán ó ń dowó, cameraman gan sìn ó ń powó ju doctor mi lọ, ẹni tó ń kọ́lé gan ó ti la ẹni tó ń kọ́lé. So the economy has changed, and I have this quote that says, the world has changed. Failure to adapt means failure to exist. Ibi táyé ń yí, ní kẹ́yìn sí o, so that we can be able to move with the transition of the global economy. As I said, I want to perhaps start this conversation with an interesting fact. A fact that I live with many entrepreneurs in Ondo State, so that it can open their mind, because once your mind can conceive it, your pocket can have it. And one of the first things I help them to understand is Ondo State's population. There are over 100 countries, I repeat, 100 countries, the population one to Ondo State. So, if I Ondo State be a country in Yosa, me only be state you, but as a nation, that this is an opportunity for me in a complete nation. Now, let me shock you, KBCs. Do you know that even in your kingdom, it's far bigger than at least 10 countries, their population? So let us open this understanding. That means I am a king over a nation. So it's better not to even look at our society as communities again, or as kingdoms again, but begin to look at it as a nation and as a country. And I do not even need to tell us that there are many countries, over 60 to 70 countries, that are run and managed by kings. They run the economy, they facilitate the partnership, they bring about investments, they do the transaction. And of course, some of these nations, like we all know, but we know there are some countries that are rule, what they low be anything. So, KBSs, there is opportunities where we are, there is money where we sit on. So why then is there complaint and anguish? Why then is there unemployment? Why then are there challenges with our own indigenes, our own sons and daughters? That is part of the things we are going to address here today. The topic given to me is promoting local entrepreneurship and growth. Local entrepreneurship and growth. And of course, this is addressing where the true wealth of Ondo State really lies, within the kingdoms, within the communities, headed by our KBSs here. What is local economy? You know, local economy is tapping into the opportunities in our local communities for the benefit of our communities, from the talents in our communities, from the energy of the young people in our communities. I always say something every time. You know, tí o bá address problem kan gbà mí, forget about the weakness, use the strength. Sometimes you can use your strength to overcome your weakness. If you look at the weakness of the communities, sometimes you will focus less on the strength that we have. Africa, Nigeria, for example, let us not take for granted the entrepreneurial stamina of a typical Nigerian. We are born entrepreneurs. The stamina tó ń ṣẹlẹ̀ lórí third mainland bridge tí wọ́n máa gbé gálà tó máa sáré tó máa lé dánfó á tún sáré padà pẹ̀lú pure water. Òyìnbó ò lè ṣe o. Òyìnbó ò lè ṣe. Stamina yẹn lásán is a strength, and it resides in our communities. How do we take advantage of these capable young minds and capable young female guys and male and address their mind, redirect their focus to love Ondo State? Why do I use the word love? What you do not love cannot favor you. Impossible. KBSs, we know, of course, that already love. Yes, so if you begin to love Ondo State will enjoy you, and somehow you will enjoy Ondo State. The problem with our youth now are running away from the Ondo State. They are looking at it from another angle and thinking there's a greener pasture somewhere. And they're not looking within to see the opportunities. It is that strength, KBACs, that I want to encourage us all, to encourage these young people. Another thing is our land, our soil, our fertile soils in our communities. That is another advantage, geographical advantage that belongs to us. The coastline, longest coastline in West Africa. Largest deposit of bitumen. There's so many raw materials even underneath the soil. But let me make something very, very clear. There's a big difference between blessing and prosperity. So Ondo State can be blessed, but we might not tap into the prosperity. We know very well that we are blessed. What are we doing with all these coastlines? What are we doing with these mineral resources? What are we doing with this talent? What are we doing with this beauty? Are we forgetting that there are models in different parts of the world that they are paid millions of dollars just for looking in a specific blackness? So kábíyèsí tábàlọ́ ọmọ tó dúdú tó fà ní ìlú wa ń gbà mí bí ká lè post wọn kọ́ ṣe international modeling or facial modeling. Opportunities are vast now, and those are some of the things that we are going to open up here today. As I proceed, local entrepreneurship as are defined is in our land, in our farmers, in our traders, our artisans, is in our youth. So it's not just in those big industries. It is the grassroots economy that resides in our kingdom. And Ondo State is very rich in this. Ondo State is rich in opportunity, like I said, in the coastline, in mineral resources, in the people, and of course in different markets across these communities. But KBACs, there's something very important that we must know. We must know your kingdom hedge. There is something that your kingdom has, and no other kingdom on this earth has it. But perhaps you have not taken enough time to investigate it. There is a kingdom advantage that you have that nobody has, SARS and Mars. Do you know that something that is cheap in your land is expensive in another man's land? Something that you throw away in your land is gold in another man's land. I remember one of my mentors, multi-billionaire, he told me he made so much money because Omanju meter moto Omanju no Nilu Saka in Zambia. I don't know, láyé ìgbà wọn ní kọ́tẹ̀ tó bí mi ní gbogbo ìgbà yẹn. Àwọn ní taxi wọn ní mítà yẹn wọn tètè lè charge àwọn tó bá charge pé kò wọ́n read well. So ọmọ mú gbogbo mítà yẹn wọ́n máa jù nù. Ó ní mítà tó ń jù nù ní Zambia yẹn lòun máa kó lòun máa lọ tà ní another country. Nǹkan tó ń jù nù. So from packing them in containers, he started chartering airlines, planes to pack things that they throw away. That can be one of the biggest blessings you can ever have. Something that people throw away that you are converting as money. KBACs, I implore you to charge not just our chiefs, but the youth and the entrepreneurs in our kingdoms. What are the commodities that are in this land that is cheap? What are the commodities that is in this land that we can export? You will not believe what China buys. I remember there was a time tọ́wọ́ arrest bọ́bọ́ kan níwájú mi nínú òyìnbó mo ní kí ni bọ́bọ́ yẹn ṣe àwọn òyìnbó tó pa helicopter wá bó ní kí ló ṣe wọn ló gbé rhino horn kí ni tó wà ní ẹnu rhino yẹn mo ní ṣọ́ọ̀tún máa ń ta rhino ni wọ́n ní owó ni millions of dollars ní kí ni tó wà lẹ́nu rhino mi ò ní ká lọ pa rhino because it's against the law, but I was so shocked to see that even a rhino horn is millions of dollars in China. How? So it is very important that we look in our community. It might even be a leaf. Ó lè jẹ́ ewé o, ó lè jẹ́ specific ẹja. Mo rántí ìgbà kan ní Nàìjíríà táwọn kan lọ pa ẹja kan bá ẹja tó lọ máa ń tà ní $3 million. Wọ́n lọ pa jẹ. Wọ́n rí ní ìlú wọn. Ọba mẹ́ja náà wọ́n pa because they lack the knowledge. Because they lack the knowledge. In this day and age, èmi ò kí ń dì pẹ̀lú èèyàn tó bá lack knowledge mọ́. There is no longer excuse because the world has advanced. There is somewhere you can get knowledge now, which is AI. So KBACs, we must even get AI assistance. We must have entrepreneurial assistance in your heads. Your economic advisor that will be able to look at these opportunities and even check what is the market value, not in Ondo State, but globally, and compare that advantage for you to transform into money in your kingdom. So please, let us look within. There is a signature produce. It can be a crop, it can be food, it can be something. It can even be a dance. Ole jasha, ole je shewani. To ye ma ri ba to ma iru kini yi o ye ka gbe lo. Ole je egun wa gan. Some of the carnivals that are done across the world, they are being paid for, they are being celebrated. When do we take our own from Ondo State and celebrate it across the world? One of the mistakes we will ever make is thinking that the market is just my community. No, they say the world is a global village. I say the world is a global market. Ọjà tá bá nílùú wa is not just for our community to be sold. Compare it to Benin Republic, compare it to Ghana, compare it to Saudi Arabia, compare it to Egypt. You will not need to do the exportation or the carrying the ship. The bá kọ́ ti confirm price yẹn, tẹ́tí confirm product yẹn, àwọn tó máa gbé máa wá gbà o. As long as you can do the comparison and find the buyer, they will go with the headache of carrying it and exporting it and converting it to the money that will reside in the kingdom. I spoke about cultural festivals as well. Very, very important that we don't just celebrate our culture, but we also do make money from it, because that is what the world is doing. But as I proceed, we begin to look, what then is holding the people back? What is holding our youths, our women, our entrepreneurs in our local communities, what is holding them back? I will not stand here and be rapping up and down without telling the truth. Oh, no, that's the first problem, capital. Access to capital has always been the problem, and I know that KBACs here can confirm that, because capital is the problem. But that's the funniest thing. And I always say that when you gain knowledge, you gain everything. If they have the knowledge, they will know where to access the money. There is funds available if they are only equipped with the knowledge. And that's the second thing that is a problem, knowledge. Our people do not want to think beyond what they understand. There are so many things. There are people now that they are online, off-site security monitoring. Their work is to sit down and be watching on other premises. It can be in Yugoslavia, it can be in Australia, and they pay them in any country, in any community. There are people, their work is to listen to sound. They will just put the earphone, per the hours you listen to, you get paid for that. And it's far more than Okada money. These are things our people can do, but the knowledge is not there for them to even know that these opportunities are there. These are opportunities they can do from our kingdom. And I think internet, Starlink can work in any community. So it's also good that we empower our community with some of those networks, and it's not expensive, so that people can connect to the global world and, of course, trade with the global world. Skills is another major thing that is holding people back. They do not have the skills, or they have outdated skills. That is why I said the world has changed. Failure to adapt means failure to exist. Outdated skills. You know, if I say ties, but she ties 30 years ago. Meanwhile, there are technology to arrange these things. You know, if I plaster, machine to spray the plaster. Even if they don't know this thing, I see no reason why we cannot have screens in some communities where they can just watch things, because when you feed people's eyes, you are feeding their brain. What you tell me, I may hear, but what you show me, I understand. So it's very important that we show them these things. Sometimes just put a screen in the local stadium, maybe every weekend, and let them watch documentaries. Let them watch how people plaster abroad. Let them watch how people paint abroad. And they believe what will happen to their mind just by sitting down and watching. Liverpool àti kíní, wọ́n wo bọ́ọ̀lù ilé àtẹlé àbí tó bá ti ta tẹ́tẹ́, gbogbo screen yẹn ẹ̀ka converted lọ́jọ́ Saturday àbí ọ̀lẹ́ Sunday is a time for knowledge. You will not believe KBACs what these 1 hour sessions in the kingdom of watching things that will expand their mind will do to our young people. As I proceed, insecurity is also a problem, because we already know that sometimes even for the farmers to go to their farms or the hunters to go to hunt, things have changed. And that is why the kings are needed in this session to help us intervene in every way that they can. I want to thank you, because I know that kings have been very outspoken in Nigeria on the level of insecurity, but we need the kings also to do more. The kings we know can never print money, but the kings can shape the mind of people to become economic warriors of their local communities. And that is why we also need to speak about the role of our royal fathers as economic warriors. Number one is to champion. to bless and endorse local businesses. Afadura yín tí mo dọ̀bálẹ̀ síwájú gbogbo kábíyèsí báyìí mo mọ ẹtẹ́ ṣe gbogbo olùkọ́ yẹn lé mi lórí èmi gan mọ̀ pé mo ti tà ní wíìkì ọdún yìí ti tà fún mi ná because I've never seen a gathering of kings in this magnitude that I have the opportunity to lie down before them. But sir, not just for me, it is also for the entrepreneurs in your communities. We need your blessings. We need your encouragement. That is the first role of the KBACs. The second one is training to build areas for skills and human capital development. We cannot underestimate the role of knowledge. I always say he that does not value knowledge is not knowledgeable. We cannot underestimate the role of knowledge. If you don't appreciate knowledge, try work with a foolish man. So it is very important that we equip. If they will not even remember the era for anything, they will remember that that king, he was very, very focused when it comes to human capital. He has passion for knowledge, and he promoted people, facilitators, skills, like I said. Just invite even the sons and daughters of your land that are doing well. Invite them back. Don't give them money if you cannot give them money, but at least come back and give knowledge. You owe our community this. And I can assure you that many will fly back from different countries if they hear the call of the king. As I'm sure that my KBC has called me, and I will be in Irele. Thank you very much, sir. Another thing that we should look at here is to provide spaces. Spaces for markets, spaces for training hubs. I heard that the federal government has done some training hubs, most especially in the northern area. And I saw videos of this training hub. They wanted me to come and help them rejuvenate some of this training hub. KBCs. Training hub, what they did here, what they did, what they did, what they did, and then I wonder who is to blame now. And the federal government to shake, what you call one be, how do we blame it? KBCs, if you will enforce it, enforce it. If you will enforce it, enforce it. If there's a training hub in your town that is not used, please call the chairman. Call the person in charge and let them cut away all those grass and bring back facilitators to revive that place. Because I can assure you, we will definitely remember you. If for that, we will never forget you. Let's create these spaces. Let's bring back these buckets. And of course, let us keep the peace that will help secure the land. Let us connect people to opportunities. If we can have a go-to person in the kingdoms where we can send opportunities, because some of these opportunities we will release, it will not pass the shores of Akure. Thank God now that we have the kings, and there's something I'm going to do at the end where it will help us to pass information down to the kingdoms, so that at least young people and entrepreneurs in the kingdom will have these informations and have these opportunities that would empower them. King can facilitate wealth, and I am so happy that this program would help facilitate wealth. You might wonder, well, how? Kings build wealth. Mansa Musa from Mali, which I know every one of us knows. He was a king that was entrepreneurial in nature. He traded on palm oil, big time, even with the Europeans. And that was what he was known for. Another amazing thing that king did was marketing king Yoti Badju, marketing Oti Leju. Because he had so much gold, but when you see Egypt, release gold, release gold. Gbogbo lecturer, professor, doctor, tó wà ní Cairo, òun ló tẹ̀lé padà wá sílùú ẹ̀. But all the gold to fish marketing. So sometimes, dear KBACs, you might need to poach for talent. You might need to poach the experts. Tí o bá ti gbà, tẹ́ bá ti fún ní gold tí o bá gbà, tẹ́ fún ní iṣu tí o bá gbà, ẹ kúkú pàṣẹ fún. Àmàsáré bọ̀. We need to poach those talents to come back. And that was what this king did, the Mansa Musa of Mali. If you look at it again, let me bring it back closer. King Jaja of Okpobo. Jaja of Okpobo was a businessman to the core. He traded big time as well. And he was known for the value chain that he was controlling with raw materials. Those are kings. Or let me even make it more recent. If you look at Dubai, the Sheikh of Dubai, that is a visionary leader. He saw the vision from the Emirates, Burj Khalifa, tallest buildings in the world, to daring visionary projects. A king must have a vision that lives and outlives the king. If you look at these three kings that I said, you will see that one used knowledge, one was a serial entrepreneur, and one was a visionary leader. Those qualities is very important that we possess. But at the same time, when we look at kings that made wealth and secure wealth, let's also look at kings that lost wealth. Yeah, that lost opportunities. Emperor Qianlong of China, opportunity, wow, what can we do? One of the things that affected that king was ego and too much money. He said that the thing we have in China was more than enough for us. We do not need external forces. Kabiesis, do you know that China will have been number one in the industrial age? Etosha and Peking, they will have been number one, if not because of that king that shut the door. Now they are regretting and they are trying to catch up. Of course, thank God they are doing well now. But there are opportunities like that will come to our communities, and as visionary leaders, we must be able to look at these opportunities and look far beyond the instant benefit, but the visionary outcome of such. How will somebody come to our community and say they want to build a factory? Show you how? The king is in the land, and the king must make that order that anything that facilitates job creation, anything that expands the community should never be tampered with. We have communities and we have machete, how? Are we opposing the same prosperity that we claim that we desire? So that is where kings must step in and protect the interest of the kingdom. Because let me also make something clear. People do not even know what they want sometimes. But because of God that has given us kings to see the vision, to see the future, it is the king that will say, this is what will happen. And it will happen. It is later that the people that have been complaining will now see that, so we need that interference. King Farouk of Egypt, that one was spending money anyhow. He spent money, he is so rich, he did not think of his people. So because he is rich, we have kings like that independently they are rich, but the community and kingdom is poor. But he didn't mind, so he can show everything flamboyantly. But we all know what led to his downfall. The same people. People, at the end of the day, are the powerhouse of any kingdom. Last one is King Naru. I can go on and on, but if you look at these three kings, you will see that one lost opportunity. One was so greedy. And one had no plan. He had no vision. And that was what led to the downfall. It is very, very important that I do not leave here by just giving us facts and stories without solution. So with my last 5 minutes to 10 minutes, I will give us some solutions that we can take. A simple plan for each kingdom. Number one is to identify, like I said before, what are the products and talents that are peculiar to my kingdom. Number two is to organize. How do I begin to organize my farmers, organize my artisans, organize my youth into cooperatives that they can then get knowledge. A lot of kingdom have cooperatives. These are the economic drivers of your kingdom. You have to know about it. I remember we were speaking about selling of land, buying of land and selling of land. It's the engine rooms that we need, those entrepreneurs. So you also have to help us intervene into those cooperatives and see that things are moving in order. And of course, they are led by the right leader. Amoye cooperative means leader. Amoye cooperative leader. So it's just leading people astray. So your wisdom and knowledge will help us in that area. Enable, give space, mentoring and safety. Connect, like I said, to link them into external market, international market, and of course opportunities. And lastly, to celebrate them. When they see the king himself rewarding business owners and entrepreneurs, people will have entrepreneurial mindset. When they see there's nothing wrong with having a king's award in your community, the king's business award, that people will not, did the Jehovah well next year? I want to work hard on my business. When there's that positive competition in the land, most of the people in the land will be entrepreneurial in nature. And at the end of the day, it will slow crime, it will slow unemployment, it will slow laziness, it will slow because of just that pronouncement of the King's Award, where you award the noblemen, you award the entrepreneurs, you award the young stars that are coming up to be the most innovative entrepreneurs. These simple ideas, you will be surprised the dramatic change it can make in our communities. Kabe says, we are partners. Let's grow together. The local communities, the traditional rulers, and of course government, where we provide policies and the platforms. The Ondo State Entrepreneurship Agency over the past 6 years has been doing so much, but the so much cannot even be felt because there are kingdoms here that we have not, I will not even lie, that we are not able to even get to. So it is very, very important for me seeing this opportunity to expand what the government is doing into those kingdoms, because that's the reason why we exist. And that is why I want to leave this stage with a free gift. And that gift is to provide free consultancy for every kingdom who wants it. If you need consultancy to help us check what are the opportunities in your state, the talents in your state, there is a phone number on the screen. That phone number, just take the phone number. I will personally fund and facilitate the experts that will come to the kingdom, no matter how far, just to help you see, because there is also need for expert opinion. Iyẹ̀pẹ̀ tá a kàn ń wò lẹ́lẹ̀ tàbí ordinary iyẹ̀pẹ̀ ní nílùú yín tó bá jẹ́ owó ni ìmọ̀ àtẹ̀tẹ̀ kọ́kọ́ bu díẹ̀ sápò mi ná kí n tó sọ fọ́ bá wọn kan àbí kò yẹ kí n ṣe bẹ́ẹ̀. But anyway, what I'm just trying to say is that there are many opportunities that we might be working on top, and these experts will help us see it. So please take the phone number. By next week, after the event, please call or have a representative to call from the King's Palace. And then we will connect that representative to an expert that will come into the land and together help us look at these opportunities and help us connect us to global opportunities across the world. Kabesis, a king who empowers his people builds a lasting kingdom. My name is Oluwasumisola Smart Francis, and I am nothing without God. Thank you very much. Shaking the deal, Kabesis. Yes, sir.
Thank you very much. I think you have to take your seat here to take questions.
I think we can do better. In fact, I will not deceive you. I've heard so much about this Smart Francis, but I've never met him before, and I think this is the first time, and I must say I've fallen in love with you. It's as if this program should continue. It shouldn't end. You should keep, maybe we should, as much as possible in our different communities, when we have programs, like any program that we have, bring him to actually sensitize our people. We are sitting on wealth, and we have to take advantage of it. Thank you very much. Let me hand you over to the chairman of the segment, who incidentally is also an entrepreneur. Thank you.
Thank you so much, MC. Thank you, our guest speaker. And thank you also for the topic, promoting local entrepreneurship and growth. In a few minutes, let me just mention the core things you have said in the course of this training. The world is a global market. And thank you for making us to know that it's not just a global village, but we should not look at it as a village, but we look at the value, which is the market in the world. And that everything is so dynamic now, and we should seize that opportunity. Also, we should identify opportunities available in our kingdoms. We have 5 countries, less than 50,000 people in the world. And I know that most of the kingdoms there, we are more than 50,000. And we have about 13 countries, less than 100,000. And we have many kingdoms there that boast of 100,000 population. So we have presidents of countries seated here today. We should understand our kingdom, the advantage, the edge, and the niche. And you also dwell on what is holding our youth, capital, which is money, and also their mind, knowledge, mental capacity to be productive, skills. They have to, some of them have to retrain themselves because their skills are outdated. We should also provide spaces for training hub,
push for talents where necessary, great values in our communities. We should endeavor to identify, to organize, to connect, and to celebrate. We must be able to collaborate to kingdom between kingdoms and kingdom within kingdoms collaboration, so that we can also expand our opportunities and markets. So my request before I take questions is that the entrepreneurial agency should please endeavor to collaborate more with others, particularly in the area of short courses. You can arrange short courses for us, because these 40, 30 minutes may not be enough. We have listened to your credentials, we have your CV very intimidating, and we know that you are very, very loaded. Ó dẹ̀ ká gbádùn yín náà ju 40 minutes talk. Then tẹ́ bá lè bá wa ṣe pé we have 3 zones. Bó jẹ́ pé ìlú méjì méjì ní àwọn zones yẹn tẹ́ lè visit wa, so that we can gather our youths and you can talk to them, because many of them wọ́n lè má lè wá sí Àkúrẹ́, and many of them wọ́n ò mọ̀ pé irú nǹkan tó tóbi báyìí ni ìjọba Ondo State ń ṣe. Even for the government to attract a person of your caliber, your CV, and to dwell here in Akure, that is very, very patriotic of you. And ẹ jẹ́ ká gbádùn yín dáadáa, àti rí CV yín, a rí pé wọ́n ń gbé yín káàkiri àwọn countries, tẹ̀tí ń bá wọn sọ̀rọ̀ káàkiri, ẹ dẹ̀ jẹ́ ọmọ ìlú wa, ẹ dẹ̀ tún wá sí state yín láti wá dúró tì wá bíbá ẹ̀. A gbọ́dọ̀ make sure pé we also benefit from the wealth of talents tí Ọlọ́run ti fún yín. Mo dẹ̀ fẹ́ dúpẹ́ lọ́wọ́ yín on behalf of the Obas fún free consultancy for all the kingdoms. Ẹ ṣé púpọ̀. Mo mọ̀ pé àwọn ọba wọ́n á fẹ́ béèrè àwọn questions lọ́wọ́ yín or clarifications. Ẹ jọ̀ọ́ tá bá rí èèyàn tó ní ìbéèrè.
The chairman of this session, the Honorable Commissioner of Local Government and Chieftaincy Affairs, Honorable Takro. My name is ACG, Oba Fashisu Richard Adewale. I'm the newest Oba of Shukpari, the only Shukpari of Shukpari land. I love this topic and the presenters. During your course of your lecture, you said that we should identify the opportunity we have in our community. In my community, as a Shukpari land, we have a very expanse of land. Presently, we have 85 camps in my community. Most of the camps, they have health centers, they have schools. Now, we have boundary with Ose, we have boundary with Ose, and we have boundary with Imensi in Ekiti, Imensi Lashkidigbe. That's the area we have. So now, how do I enhance the opportunity we have to the benefit of my communities? We have 85 camps, very big land. So how do I enhance such opportunity? That is one question. My second question is, I have in mind to establish a cooperative society in my community, whereby I can raise the youth so that I can be helping them and I have access to loans from the government in order to, at least, to promote the youth. How do I go by it? Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Yeah, a dúpẹ́ lọ́wọ́ olùkọ́ni wa again ọ̀pọ̀lọpọ̀. Nǹkan tèmi fẹ́ béèrè ni pé lóòótọ́ ní ayé ìgbà kan sọ̀mí là ń gbọ́ ní ààfin ṣùgbọ́n ó ti yí padà. Ojoojúmọ́ ni wọ́n ń gbérùyàn ní ààfin sìn. Ààfin wọ́n máa ń wá, oníkálukú máa ń gbé ìṣòro tiẹ̀ wá. Now, nǹkan méjì ni. Kí la lè ṣe àwọn ọ̀dọ́ wa? Wọ́n ò ṣetán láti ṣe nǹkan kan. Ní ìgbà kan tí ò tí ì pẹ́ síbí, mo ra ilẹ̀ oko ńlá tó tóbi. Mo wá sọ fún àwọn ọ̀dọ́ bíi pé èmi náà lead by example. Àgbẹ̀ mo ń ṣe àgbẹ̀, mo ṣe tomatoes, mo wá ní okay now. Ẹni tó bá ń fẹ́ 2 plots ń bí kó wá mú àwọn 3 months crops bíi tomatoes, cucumber, watermelon and so ẹ wá máa plant ẹ̀. Pé èmi máa kó àwọn èèyàn tá a máa ṣiṣẹ́ wá máa bá yín ṣiṣẹ́ kò ní sí pé ẹ̀rọ ṣiṣẹ́. Tẹ́ bá tẹ̀ tún fẹ́ tà, tí n bá fẹ́ ta tomatoes tó bá pọ̀ a máa ń kó lọ Èkó, tí ò bá pọ̀ a ti ní ready made market sí ṣáṣá. Obìnrin yẹn tó bá ti kó wá fún ba ìrọ̀lẹ́ aláàtà ti dún. Pé a tún máa bá yín tà. Then mo tún kọ́ pen síbẹ̀ pé ẹ lè wá máa sin adìyẹ. Tó bá fàdìyẹ lóúnjẹ láàárọ̀ wàá máa wo oko ẹ lọ́wọ́ ọ̀sán, ìrọ̀lẹ́ wàá máa bọ̀ ń lé bó dẹ̀ jẹ ẹlẹ́dẹ̀. Ṣùgbọ́n gbogbo kinní yẹn wà ń bẹ̀ ń sìn kò sí, wọn ò ṣetán láti lò ó. Ìyẹn tún wá gbé mi débi pé tí àwọn èèyàn bá lè ṣe yẹn, mo ní ọ̀rẹ́ kan tó jẹ́ country manager Dell Incorporation ní Nàìjíríà. Èmi àti ẹ̀ ń sọ̀rọ̀ lọ́jọ́ Sunday. Ó ní kí n wo nǹkan tá a lè ṣe sí ọ̀dọ̀ mi tó jẹ́ pé àwọn lè kó onírú níná ní Benue State wọ́n ń ṣe lọ́wọ́, wọ́n á ṣe containers tó jẹ́ pé wọ́n á network everything máa wà ń bẹ̀ táwọn èèyàn á máa wá láti máa kọ́ coding and so many other things. But now àwọn tí ò rẹ́dì láti ṣe kọ́kọ́ máa mọ́nítọ̀ nǹkan àwọn kọ́ la ṣiṣẹ́ ń bẹ̀ ṣé wọ́n máa rẹ́dì láti ṣe ìyẹn náà. Kí ni nǹkan tá a lè ṣe tí àwọn ọ̀dọ́ wa tí wọ́n máa fi mójú wọn mọ nǹkan tó ń pè ní entrepreneurship yìí? Then again tí mo tún fẹ́ sọ ni pé bí àwọn ni bóyá ẹ̀yin àbí àwọn ìjọba ṣe lè ṣe. Ìṣòro tá ń dojú kọ ní Nàìjíríà ó pọ̀. There is this thing tí wọ́n ń pè ní bàárọ̀ tí ẹ̀ ń sìn joint venture. Báwo ni ìjọba ṣe lè enlighten àwọn èèyàn? Ìṣòro tá ní ni pé mo ní company ń sìn torí pé ó jẹ́ ní orúkọ mi. Mo dẹ̀ mèèyàn tó jẹ́ pé a lè go into partnership. Tóun náà máa tún mú nǹkan wá tí company á fi máa lọ òkè ṣùgbọ́n mi ìfẹ́ kó kúrò ní orúkọ mi pé èmi ni mo ní family ni mí. Mi ìfẹ́ kémi àtẹlòmíì ní ó dẹ̀ ń mú ìpalára wá. Òun ló fi jẹ́ mo mọ company kan l'Ákúrẹ́ ń sìn tí ìjọba ò bá dá sí company yẹn ó máa fold up. Tó dẹ̀ jẹ́ pé ọ̀pọ̀lọpọ̀ èèyàn ló máa pàdánù iṣẹ́ ń bẹ̀. Nǹkan tí American government ṣe nígbà GMC Motors tí wọ́n rí i pé àwọn people yìí wọ́n máa fold up thousands of Americans wá dẹ̀ wà wọn ò ní ríṣẹ́ wọ́n pump owó síbẹ̀ company yẹn dúró dìsín. Èyí tí mo ń sọ Àkúrẹ́ ló wà o tó dẹ̀ jẹ́ pé àwọn tó ń ṣiṣẹ́ bẹ̀ wọ́n ń ṣe kékeré bọ̀ tí ìjọba ò bá dá sí company yẹn ó máa fold up ọ̀pọ̀lọpọ̀ èèyàn ló dẹ̀ máa pàdánù iṣẹ́. Kí ni nǹkan tí àwa lè ṣe láti bring in àwọn youth wa? Ṣé wọ́n ní pé èèyàn lè gbé ẹṣin dé ìdí odò ṣùgbọ́n kò lè fọ́ọ̀sì ẹ̀ mú omi. Báwo làwa ṣe lè ṣe tá a dàbí pé a fọ́ọ̀sì wọn láti ṣe, nítorí tí wọn ò bá ṣe wàhálà yẹn ọrùn àwa ọba òun ló máa wà. Ẹ ṣé.
The chairman, sir, and our guest speaker, I'm the Larugbo of Akotugbo. It's a great pleasure having you. Èmi náà sọ Yorùbá. Bá dẹ̀ sọ ìkálẹ̀ mọ̀ pé wà á gbọ́. Sìn tó ti jẹ́ ọmọ rẹ̀ lè. I'm coming in this dimension because you said you come in partnership. You come in partnership. And you're an essay to the government now on entrepreneurship. Sometimes in Lagos, I think during the era of Hambode, some experts came from Germany láti develop water hyacinth into soil enhancer, sorry. But in Ondo State, particularly in the coast line of Ondo State, here mentioned, Eric, the primary reason for flooding this year, this season, is water hyacinth. I need deposit in abundance. Agbára ọba ò gbé láti lè gé omi yìí, ojú omi yìí, and láti lo water hyacinth yẹn kó má jẹ́ waste. Tẹ́ bá dé ojú omi Èkó, mi fẹ́ lọ sókè òkun, ẹ̀yin náà ẹ mọ òkè òkun dáadáa, ẹ kàwé lọ́hùn. Tẹ́ bá dé omi Èkó lọ́dọ̀ wa ń bí, ẹ lè rí àwọn water hyacinth yìí. But in our Ondo State, and that is your office, it's part of your office directly from your profile. Kí lẹ lè bá wa ṣe sí láti clear àwọn water hyacinth yìí, Ìkálẹ̀, Ìrẹ̀lẹ̀ local government, that is Akotogbo, Ìyànsàn, and Ijo Ọ̀ṣun Barugbo, then Arugbo, Ẹsẹ̀ Odò, Ìlàjẹ. Gbogbo problems tí a ní this season is as a result of that water hyacinth. Flood everywhere. A ò rọ́nà gbà kọjá. Even àti wá sí Òkìtìpupa, yes, mo mention Ìkálẹ̀, àti wá sí ìpàdé ìdánilẹ́kọ̀ọ́ yìí. Èmi pàápàá mú láti organize àwọn youths ìlú mi láti lọ ro ọ̀nà gba inú igbó. That is why mi lè gbé ọkọ̀ tí gómìnà gbé fún wa wá, because ẹ̀mí ẹ̀ ò ní gbé. I have to use my own personal vehicle. Tí mo mọ̀ pé auxiliary ẹ̀ ó wà manual, it's not automatic like this of Fortuna. Òun ló lè fi gba inú igbó yẹn jáde sí Àjàgbà. So this water hyacinth is everywhere. So ọba kankan mi rò pé a lè ní owó láti dá fertilizers plant sílẹ̀ láti lò àbí láti gé. Ẹ jọ̀ọ́ kí lẹ lè bá wa ṣe sí yẹn. Ẹ ṣé. And I appreciate you. I appreciate your knowledge and your intellect. Thank you very much. God bless you.
Well, just two more. One this side and probably one at the back. The chairman of the session, Kábíyèsí Dèjì, and Honorable Commissioner, àti dédé orí adédédé mọ kíngán jí eégún oníjó bá jó ire ara ka yá ni níbí ìbàyẹn nísìn àwọn ọba wọn bá mi dun ọmọ mi, wọn ní kò ń ṣe ọmọ Ìrẹ̀lẹ̀ nìkan pé gbogbo ọmọ Ondo State ni, wọn ní ṣèbí smart lórúkọ ẹ̀ ń jẹ́ ọmọ gbogbo wa ni, ṣùgbọ́n mo máa fògùn ní kàẹ́sì orúkọ báyìí ní Ìrẹ̀lẹ̀. Praise the Lord. Our lecturer,
we are very proud of you as a son of my kingdom. We have huge potentials in the Relay Kingdom. You know it. Wood resources, oil palm resources, fertile land, vast. And in the few months of my ascending the throne, I can also see very huge human capital potential wasting away, especially among the youth. In my interaction with them, because I have invited many of them, they all come with a problem. When I try to educate them, then now, my appeal to you, sir, is that because of my interaction, I've decided to set up a mindset academy for the youth for character engineering. And I want to appeal to you to please use your privilege today, being an advisor to the government, to be able to help or to support this academy. It won't be for Relay alone. If we start it in Relay, we can even extend it and expand in such a way that other people from other kingdoms, even government officials, because we have deficit of character everywhere. So if we start a character engineering institute or academy, then we can train these children, we can redirect their mind. So that, like what Kabiyesi said, the farm is there, but their mindset is not, they are not interested in it. Their mindset is not showing them that they can get money, they can become rich through the farm that Kabiyesi has established. Rather, they want him to put his hand in his pocket and give them money. So, my appeal to you, sir, is to take up this. We are willing to partner with you in the Relay Kingdom and partner with Ondo State government to set up this academy. Thank you very much.
Thank you once again. I think most of my questions also have been asked, but again, I'm a copy of this. Somebody provide it for. It will be so appreciated. Also, entrepreneurship is so important to communities. There is no doubt about that. Again, there are basic rules guiding entrepreneurship. In fact, in some instances, you also see government guidelines. So I think also emphasis should be laid on this. And having said that, I will immediately also invite you to my domain, Okeagbe, so that because we have so many potentials there that wants the training and they will enjoy, because we also thrive so much on entrepreneurship. We want this training and we'll be inviting you very soon. Thank you.
Excuse me. The last person at the back, and that will be the last question. Please, so sorry. The last person at the back.
Thank you very much. Okay, Chairman, the chairman of the session, and I also appreciate our resource person. The Obas are now being familiarized with a number of things going on in the state. Now we come to the domain of economy, and the Obas are now also being enjoined to take responsibility about local economic development. And I think this is something very new.
I want to suggest that we cannot do this without government support. And one thing I will suggest as a takeaway from here, that we have a very ramifying effect on youth unemployment, on youth restiveness, on women development, on the emancipation, even of the state in general, is for government to partner with every kingdom, for them to come up with something they have comparative advantage on, that they can develop and they can create job in their domain, and government provide the funding and partner with the kingdom so that the youth can have something to do. Because the youths of these days open fish farms, they will not stay. Open tomato farms, they will not stay. We have tried all this. But let us also modernize what we are going to open, because they are Gen Zs, and let the government provide the support. If we are doing empowerment in terms of cash donations, that will not last. Let us empower in terms of entrepreneurship. You can open training centers in some areas to develop the skill, and then open the enterprises in partnership with the kingdom themselves. And let us create a fund in the state to support this. And I thank you. God bless.
Thank you. Over to you, sir.
Thank you very much, sirs. I once again stand on the privilege to answer the questions and also adopt the compliments that has been shared. Kabesi spoke about land, sir, right? In large quantities. Kabesi, it's similar to what I said before. There is a company in Ukraine. They are called NFTs. NFTs. They tokenize trees. Kabesi, and I believe you only in one carbon credits. Iye trees tẹni nínú gbó bó ṣe release carbon dioxide here. Iye owó táwọn sanwó fún nìyẹn. So that massive land that you have, even before we even talk about infrastructure or developing it, you can earn carbon credits on that land. And the question, or my addition to what I'm about to say, is connected to what Kabesi said here about joint ventures. Joint ventures, personally for me, we're not even looking at, when I give the number of the consultants, it is not for government joint venture. Government may alone joint venture and see if we want to be fair with ourselves. It's the private sector. I also am the special advisor on investments, so we are to attract investors into the states. So these investors are just to see these opportunities. For example, it's more buying so personally I will also connect with you, sir, to see how we can connect the Shupari Kingdom to these investors. And of course, there are many other things like ranching. We just need to also identify the problem to now. Ranching, and we have that kind of land, and there are so many private investors, even local investors here in Nigeria, who are interested in that. Sir, people are looking for land for the right reasons, and we will connect them to the Shupari Kingdom. Thank you very much. The second question was towards a youth cooperative, putting them together, and it's very hard to not remember which Kabesi said that, but I know when you are standing in front of so many crowds, it's a different feeling. So I don't even know, but I know that somebody spoke about youth cooperative. On that youth cooperative, Kabesi, I would also like to cooperate with you on that and expose them. This September 19, we have the Entrepreneur Summit coming up here in this dome. Sometimes exposure to Ekafun exposure low. Only just exposure Akure Deji. Thank you, sir, for the beautiful kingdom that you have here. And not just because of its beauty, it's because of the access Akure has as a capital city. So there's so many opportunities. There are people that I brought from Irele to a conference here and their mind changed forever just by coming to Akure. So the youth cooperatives, sir, that you suggest, yes, we can do it, but I think we should give them exposure. Exposure even within the states. So when we have programs here, my agency and myself will personally support to bring a huge number of them into this conference, pay for the expenses and the logistics rather, so that they can experience and also connect. Show me your friend, and I will tell you who you are. Sometimes we have to intentionally connect these young people to the right relationships. And because of that, it will affect their mindset and ultimately their actions. Now, another KBC expressed the youth are not ready to work. Sir, I said it earlier that you will get it closer because the king is the closest to the people. So if we as a country and as a government we are experiencing things, I can imagine what kings are experiencing. And that you will show them opportunities, got them the land, got them the farmland, show them the produce, show them the harvest, and at the same time, they still don't get the message. It is an economy that has really been fractured with a lot of corruptible information. And that is why you will see countries like China on the social media, on that TikTok, but in country TikTok in show in China, in country show, oh yeah, to see country show Africa. In country show Africa, I want to make video, I want to tatete, I want to babo show in Africa, la ọmọ wa ti wan wo. I want to that TikTok won't be on China, they are watching factories, they are watching industries. There is even rules by their kingdoms. You cannot even go and be watching all those because they are very intentional about what they feed the mind of their young people. And they are catching them young. So, Bashen Jo, our video is in Africa, our youth to one Jo, at the age of 12, 13, 14. If they have polluted their mind at that age, there's no way we can compete with them. So they know what they are doing intentionally. So, KBC, I would advise that you don't give up, but we also feed their mind. I had a topic that I spoke about recently, last month, and I titled the topic, Why You Are Asleep. What they are building while you are asleep. Sometimes they just need to see what they are share across the world. There are young people in this world, they are designing technologies. Let them see that while they are sleeping, what the world is building. It's very important that they see what their age mate is doing as well. And I remember you said that you cannot take a horse to the river. You can take a horse to the river, but you cannot force it to drink. Sir, you are very, very correct. But you can also give the horse a taste of the water. Or you can show the horse another horse while he's drinking water. I can bet you that horse, you have a momitele or fuagbe. So there are so many strategies that we can use to lure these youths. And that is that King's Award. I don't think it's an idea that we should throw away. They must see the king intentionally celebrating the right people in the society. The king intentionally, could possible gather the 10 best young entrepreneurs. The way the other people will feel alone. Because these young people, they are interested in games, competition. So their mindset is driven by competition. The moment they see Saidi, Abiwale, Abibenga, Tojo, Alabule, Tibenga, not tell about it, Abitobati exposure, I can assure you that mindset change will begin to happen when we have positive scapegoats. So I think that's another thing we should take to start identifying positive scapegoats in the society. Water clearance due to flood. This is a very big problem and it needs a lot of partnership because of the funding. This needs a lot of synergy between the local, states, and even federal. Personally, I've been to Ayetoro twice with Mr. Governor. And when we started proceeding, it's not directly under my office. But of course, these are things that we can intellectually contribute to. And when we went there to even see the magnitude of what is there, even the budget is not even, country to manage the budget here, go out try. It even needs a lot of international funding. But there are also stories that sell. There are stories that sell. The mistakes we are making is stories to attract funding, affiche criticism. Story to attract funding, wọ́n fi ń ṣe political competition. I don't know if I'm clear on what I'm saying. You can easily tell a story of a mother and a child with a flood in a community that can bring about international attention and brings donation. Instead of that, we will show child and mother. Instead of you to use that, America, every story should have a conversion, a positive conversion. Enough of using story for campaign or politics. Let us also use this story to attract sympathy, to attract foreign aids. So communities who are going through such, I also want to encourage, while the government and federal will do their work, let's also find how we can create even local documentaries and attract international organizations. And they would, I can assure you of that one, they would directly engage with the kingdom. If the World Bank or the Rockefeller Foundations and other international foundations want to engage, they will engage directly with the kingdom, and maybe by God's grace that can also attract international funding. Now, Michael Bassey spoke about a very brilliant idea, the Mindset Academy, brilliant. Character Engineering Institute, CIE. Sir, thank you so much for such a brilliant idea, which I think we should adopt in entrepreneurship. A máa ń copy o, eléyìí ṣe exam school, tá a máa ní bá ọba kan tí ń ṣe, èmi ò ní ṣe o, àbí àjọ ṣe bàbá yìí ṣe mi fẹ́ ṣe tèmi. There was a king that spoke about collaboration. In the role of business, a máa ń copy o, a lè gbé nǹkan tó ń ṣe lóńgbò ní ká wá ṣe lùtiwa o, is allowed in the game of entrepreneurship. So I will advise that we all adopt it, because I love that word. There is something for engineering, because character ni àwọn ọmọ wa ọkọ mọ ni sáwọn ọmọ Nigeria, everybody in Kora. I used to tell my people, Kora, Binu is the best place to shine. Do you know if only you just smile in Nigeria, you can make money from that? Because everybody in Kora, everybody, if you have a very good human service, customer service engagement, people will love your business more. Even the kings that smile more, people will love the king more, because everybody is very hedgy. Everybody is thinking in an aggressive way. So character engineering, sir, I totally support it. Personally, I will join you on that mission, sir, to make sure that we set up the academy, and I'm sure Mr. Governor will facilitate such for every others that also show interest in that. I remember there's a number that spoke about hubs. The number on the screen, maybe we should bring it back for any other who has missed it. You might not need that number today, but you might regret you didn't write that number down tomorrow. The number will go back on the screen if you need that consultancy, and also with what KBAC has spoken about on this institute. I think it's something we should look at, because if we change their mind first, we can give them the biggest farm. We can even give them gold in their hand. Unless we re-engineer their mind, and that's why I really, really appreciate that. An invitation to Okeagbe. Thank you very, very much, sir. I'll be so happy to answer the King's call at any day, any night. I will connect with you, sir, to facilitate the day and time to make that happen. And lastly, the government should empower and open hubs. I spoke about the fact that there are hubs that are empty. There are hubs that are empty around the world, around Nigeria. So even if we build the hubs, they might not come. So I will go back to Character Engineering and Mindset Academy. At least let them even understand why, appreciate why. And please, sirs, let us create positive scapegoats. I'm sorry I'm using the word scapegoat. Let them see that there is a benefit for being good. What's in really àǹfààní of being bad? Àǹfààní láti jẹ́ ọmọ Yahoo, àti àǹfààní láti máa ṣe òṣìlálẹ̀, àǹfààní láti máa rìn òru. Let the good be rewarded publicly, so that they can also see the benefit of being a good son, the benefit of being an entrepreneurial son. And together, I can assure you that the Ondo State Entrepreneurship Agency and the Ondo State government, under the leadership of Governor Lucky Orimiso Ayedatiwa, will happily partner with every kingdom. Thank you very much, sirs.
Thank you very much. Our resource person, the chairman of the segment, and our Rivered Obas at the top table. We want to go on a tea break now for the Obas before we commence the next lecture. Tea break. Please, once again, if you are not a king, you can excuse us. There is so much to eat. After the Obas have taken what they want to, there will be so much still left for others to take. Please, I want to appeal to you. If you are not an Oba and you are here, can you just please excuse us? Thank you.